Spot.
LAUNCHPAD, sponsored by Musical Sound System. Visit our website musicalsoundsystem.com.
Music Planet presents LAUNCHPAD with DJ J.
Dear friends of LAUNCHPAD Show, we are here today with a very special guest. A special guest from USA, from America. He's an organist, and his name is... I want that you say your name exactly, Clay. Say your name exactly.
Clay Christiansen.
Perfect. You welcome, Clay. You welcome here at our microphone, at the microphone of LAUNCHPAD Show, here on our web radio, Christian Radio, here in Italy. You welcome here as our guest in our program. Clay.
Thank you.
Clay.
Thank you, Marco. I'm honored to be here.
Very well. Now, Clay, our radio listener want to know you. Your name and surname is Clay Christiansen. Okay. Where are you from, Clay?
Well, I am from Utah, the state of Utah in USA.
Yeah.
I was born in a very small town in the southeast part of the state, but I've lived most of my adult life in the Salt Lake City area.
Yeah. And when are you born, Clay? When are you born?
I was born February 28, 1949. So that makes me 72.
So you are a teenager. Yeah,
just a young guy.
Very good.
Best is yet to come.
So, Clay, you are an organist, and exactly you are or you was the organist in Mormon Tabernacle in Salt Lake City, correct?
Yes, for nearly 36 years, I was a full-time organist at the Tabernacle at Temple Square in Salt Lake City, where I played the organ, took my turn with my two other full-time colleagues with a daily noon recital, half-hour recitals, and also accompanying the Tabernacle Choir on the world's longest running continuous network radio program, Music and the Spoken Word.
Very good. Okay, Clay, our radio listeners are very curious and want to know our guests. The life of our guests, for example. I have a first question for you, Clay. When is born your passion for music? And above all, why for the organ?
That's a good question. I've had a passion for music as long as I can remember. I think it was encouraged by my grandmother, who did not play the piano that well. She only played a few things, but she lived with us till I was 6, and we had her piano in our home, and it was a beautiful old upright grand piano, parquet inlaid wood, and Greek columns on the edge, a big old Storian Clark. And so I heard her play a little bit on that and picked up at a young age, 4 or 5. I started playing and picking up what she played by ear and then making up my own stuff. So that was the beginning of my interest in music, I guess you might say.
Yeah.
Then I would hear the Tabernacle Choir and organ on the radio. We did not have television until I was 10 years old. I lived out in the sticks in a very small town of like 350 people in as I said, in south central Utah. And but but so I would hear the Tabernacle Choir broadcasts on the radio. Of course, they broadcast weekly, and then twice a year we would have 3 days full of what we called General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and their choirs sang at each of those 2-hour sessions, and of course the organ accompanied them. And I would sit, after we got TV, after I was 10 years old, I would sit in front of the television and watch the organists, including Alexander Schreiner, play for that. And I was drawn to the sound of the Tabernacle Choir and organ, and so that was, I'm sure, the beginning of my love for the organ.
Well, very, very interesting, very interesting. Tell us another thing, Clay. So, at what age did you start studying music seriously?
Okay, that's a good question. I started piano lessons with my aunt at the normal age of 8. I was playing the piano by ear for several years before that. Then at the age of 13, I was blessed to come under the tutelage of the head of the organ department at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. J.J. Keeler, legendary organist there, a teacher who had studied right before the Second World War in Leipzig with the cantor at St. Thomas Church, and then with in Great Britain as well. And he was a very strict pedagogue, and so I studied organ, started serious organ lessons with him at the age of 13, and continuing my piano study all through those years and into my undergraduate years of four years at Brigham Young University, where I took a major in organ performance under J.J. Keeler.
Clay,
so that was the beginning of my study.
Clay, do you remember your first concert? Your first concert in your life? Do you remember? I do, and it was a piano recital, and it was with a very fine piano teacher who lived 60 miles north of the little community I lived in a larger town. Her name was Janice Sigurd, and she had studied with one of the best piano teachers in the state of Utah. And when I was 12 years old, I memorized a full piano recital and performed it not only in my community, but in one of the other communities in my county. And so that was my first full-length recital. Wow, wow! And tell us. Do you remember? Is there a concert, a special concert that you remember in your career? A special concert, a concert that you remember very well.
Well, there of course are
many, much.
Especially well, I would say I remember playing on the magnificent Harrison and Harrison organ at St. Mary Redcliffe Church in Bristol, England. One of the finest organs that I've ever performed on. That is certainly one of the concerts that solo recitals, you might say, that stands out in my mind. Also, performing on perhaps the world's largest church organ, where I was privileged to play concerts 3 times at the First Congregational Church in downtown Los Angeles.
Wow. And another question. I do the questions that all the people would like to tell you. Another question, Clay. The organ musician that you prefer, or the organ musician that you prefer to play.
My favorite organ composer?
Yeah.
Well, of course, every organist plays special homage to the great Johann Sebastian Bach, which performs the backbone of my organ technique.
For all musician, Bach is the best. He is surely.
Yes, that's right. But you know, I'm especially fond and most dear to my heart are the three chorales of César Franck.
César Franck, great, César Franck. Tell me a thing, Clay. Never you played here in Europe?
Yes, with the Tabernacle Choir, I've played in continental Europe. I've done solo recitals in Great Britain, but in continental Europe, I performed, it's now been 23 years ago, something like that, with the choir in Rome, in fact, in the Santa Cecilia Concert Hall in the Vatican, down the road from St. Peter's Basilica.
Yeah.
And we also performed in Torino. I remember the concert hall. It was it was a basement concert hall in a big building that had been repurposed. It used to have a racetrack on the roof. It was owned by a car company originally, and also we performed in Barcelona in the Palau de la Música. In Barcelona, and performed at Royal Albert Hall in London, where we did a broadcast of music and the spoken word, which I played for on that huge organ.
Yeah.
Remember, the organ solo was the Benedictus of Max Reger, which I played. That was before the organ was completely renovated, and there were a number of the stops that could not be used and were taped over. But still, that was a magnificent experience.
Yeah.
And then almost 4 years ago, I went with the Tabernacle Choir on their last tour of continental Europe. More recently, this was just a year or so before I retired, and we did not get to Italy. We performed at the Musikverein in Vienna on that marvelous new organ that they have there, and we performed several places in Germany, in the Philharmonie, in Berlin, and in the concert hall in Nuremberg, and we performed in Frankfurt, and then we performed also in Rotterdam in the Netherlands and in Belgium. Visited Paris, and I had my first opportunity to play Cavaco organs, a couple of them in Paris, which was an important experience to me. But so these are highlights of my life performing with the Tabernacle Choir, playing the organ with them. And on the first tour, it was the piano. We had two pianos, and we would use 4 hands, sometimes 6 hands, all three of us accompanying at once the Tabernacle Choir. We also visited Spain and Portugal on that trip, the earlier one 23 years ago.
So you played here in Europe many times, correct?
So yes, with the Tabernacle Choir.
Very good.
Solo work. Haven't been to the Scandinavian countries though, even though my father was a full Danish blood, so I'm half Dane, you might say. But
yeah.
I've yet to get to Scandinavia.
Yeah. Clay, another question, a very dangerous question. Your favorite organist? There is any organist that you like on life, organist on life? Any organist that you like?
Living organist, you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
dangerous.
To say, but I'd have to say that Oliver Latry at Notre Dame is hard to beat.
Yeah.
Latry is wonderful.
And about young organists, is there anyone that you like?
Oh, there's so many gifted younger organists coming up. I was listening last night to Vincent Dubois play the Cantabile of César Franck.
Yeah.
I like Dubois playing a lot. If you consider him a young organist.
Yeah.
When we have some wonderful young organists here in the United States, and as well. I hate to hesitate to start naming names, but my colleagues at the Tabernacle, Richard Elliott and Andrew Unsworth and Brian Matthias, who replaced me, they're top of the heap. I admire their playing.
Okay.
Always.
Clay, you are also a teacher, correct?
Yes.
What do you think about the future of the organ in the world? How do you see the future of the organ in the world, in the future?
Well, I see organists, many of them playing in a manner and playing music that is more colorful than it used to be largely when I was younger, and so I think that it will reach more people. I think that the organ will continue to be alive. It's tied in often to the churches, and so if churches are in decline, it follows that the organ might be. But I think that the blessing of the internet has given the organ an opportunity to be more widely exposed to many people over this last year and a half. It's an instrument that in spite of its extensive resources, is as you know, played by one person, and so it's the ultimate non-super spreader, and so it's ideally adapted to COVID, it seems to me. For instance, on Temple Square right now, the only thing that has been resurrected, the only events that have been fully resurrected since COVID are the daily noon organ recitals.
Very good, very good, very good. I said to you this question because it's very interesting, because you know that in any part of the world the future of the organ is not so sure, and I said you this question because you know that organ have an history very particular, because in any geographical area the organ is not known, above all because it's an instrument very close to the Catholic religion, and you know that in any area of the world the Catholic and the Christian religion is not known, so also the organ is not known. And it is a situation very particular because only the organ live this type of situation, because it's not so for other instrument, for the strings, for the piano, for other instrument. So I think that is very important that the culture of the organ grow up continuously, and it's very important to promote the culture of the organ with the young generation, with the teenager. What do you think about?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Very important to promote it, important in every way we can. teaching, giving them opportunities to be exposed to any who have any interest in playing it. And it's important that we have organs in places in addition to churches, in concert halls. And so many of our new concert halls in the United States have fine organs in them, and that is encouraging. Also, we have organs in a few famous places that hear them regularly that are not associated with churches. Foremost comes to mind, of course, the Wanamaker organ at the Macy's department store in downtown Philadelphia, which is played, I think, twice daily. And the largest organ in the world at on the boardwalk in the convention center in Atlantic City is under restoration, and when that's fully restored, that will call more attention to itself. And of course, we have at the Tabernacle, we do our share with the tourists that come to Salt Lake City, and during the summer there are 2 recitals at noon and at 2 o'clock, and the rest of the year, one daily at noon, 2 o'clock on Sundays, and for tourists to hear the Tabernacle organ. So we do our part there to raise the consciousness of the organ. And so it's important that there be an outreach and that music be performed that caters to the public and not organists just playing for other organists.
Very good, very good, very good, very good, Clay. Now, Clay, I'm sure that our radio listener would like to listen you in any your performance. I would like to ask you how to present us your piece, your performance. Can you present the title of any of your performance?
That would be available for the listener to listen or for you to play on the program?
Yeah. I would like that you present, that you say the title of a piece that we would like to listen from you, that we broadcast for you, for our radio listener.
Okay, well, I would like them to hear my transcription. And this is, speaking of reaching the general public, this is one way to reach them, by doing some transcriptions, which are coming back into vogue and not frowned on so much as they used to be. And I would like to play my transcription of the famous Morning Mood from the Peer Gynt Suite of Edvard Grieg. This played on the Tabernacle organ.
Wow. So, dear radio listener of Crystal Radio and LAUNCHPAD, for you, Clay Christiansen. Very, very nice, Clay. Thank you very much for this your performance. Thank you very much and congratulations. Absolutely congratulations.
Thank you.
So you are also a composer, correct?
Yes.
How many pieces that you composed in your life?
Oh, heavens, I haven't bothered to count them all up, but I think I have 7 volumes of music published by Morningstar Music Publishers, and 2 or 3 volumes by other publishers, including Jackman Music. And many of these are settings of hymn tunes, but not all of them. I have a suite, a 5-movement suite for organ that I dedicated to my wife Diane, who is the mother of our 12 living children, and certainly deserved to have a full suite dedicated to her. I did this on the occasion of our 50th wedding anniversary, which was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Clay, a curiosity. Do you have any sons that play organ?
No, none of my children play the organ. I have singers, and I had 2 or 3 of them play other instruments. But no organists. I keep thinking that maybe one of our 61 grandchildren will play the organ, and so we'll see. Or maybe great grandchildren. We're now starting to get great grandchildren. We have 5 of them and 3 on the way.
Okay, Clay. Now we would like to listen you again in your performance, but now we would like to listen a piece composed by you. Is possible?
Yes. Let's see. What? It might be.
What you prefer? We would like to listen to your composition.
Well, there's a recording made in the First Methodist Church of Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And I think that recording of a setting I made of an American spiritual, "Were You There When They Crucified My Lord?" It's a kind of a good, but I would like people to hear that setting. I think it's I'm quite happy with it.
So tell us the title of the piece.
Were You There?
Okay. Dear radio listener of Launchpad on Crystal Radio, for you, Clay Christiansen. Okay, Clay. Now we are here on studio. Perfect. Clay, thank you very much again for your interview here, for to be here, our guest on Launchpad Crystal Radio here in Italy. Thank you very much. Really, thank you very much. A very interesting, very interesting interview. Very interesting interview. Clay, tell me the project that you are in the future. Do you have any special project in the future?
Well, I'm composing some more. I've got two projects. One that I have completed and sent to the publisher that has yet to be published. It will come out next year. It's a set of 12 pieces for organ, 12 short pieces in contrasting styles, each one dedicated to one of my 12 children. And I also have another project that just finished, a set of 19 hymn introductions and reharmonizations for uses for congregational singing by church organists. And then I'm in the middle of composing another set of hymn arrangements, hymn settings or preludes on children's songs, children hymns.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And say me, Clay, if anyone want to contact you, how is possible? For example, here in Europe, any church want to contact you for any concert, how we can to contact you? Do you have a website page?
Yeah, well, I do have a YouTube page, but that's something else. And I do weekly broadcast, usually improvisations from my home organ on my YouTube page. But if someone wanted to contact me, probably the best way would be through perhaps email, which is my last name, Christiansen, and my initials. That's CHRISTIANSENCR @hotmail.com.
Perfect, Clay. Perfect. Clay, before to finish our very nice interview, I like this interview because we are speaking like to old friends. Do you agree?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. And before to finish our very nice interview, I would like to ask you how to listen a last your performance, a last your piece. Do you have anything to propose us?
Do I have a thing?
Yeah, another piece, another last piece.
Sure I understand.
Yes, another. We would like to listen another your last piece.
For you to play for the people to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yes. How about a toccata on the great Easter hymn, "He is Risen," and this will be from a performance at the Brigham Young University, Idaho, the Barris Concert Hall, and this organ is by a builder that many of your organists will know, Rufati.
Wow.
It's on a 4-manual Rufati organ. My toccata on "He is Risen."
Never you visited Rufati here in Italy? You know that Rufati is from Italy.
Yes, I'm aware of that, from Padua. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Clay. Now we're greeting you, and I say you thank you for your interview, for your time, and I hope to have you another time guest here on our radio program. I hope.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you
It's
to
been
you.
my pleasure, and I would love to.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Clay. Now I greeting you, me, and our radio listener of Launchpad on Crystal Radio. Thank you very much again, Clay. See you later. Okay. See you. Bye bye.
Now,
Bye.
all the best.
Bye bye. Thank you to you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Spot.
LAUNCHPAD, sponsored by Musical Sound System. Visit our website musicalsoundsystem.com.
Music Planet presents LAUNCHPAD with DJ J.